Good evening, Hobby World. Thanks for joining us live tonight for episode 50 of Personal Rips with Hobby Chats. Joining tonight, as always, is Ken at Bean's B Card Blog. I'm Herman, aka 3B Collections. We're here every Monday night at 8 Eastern to talk about our hobby and yours. Feel free to join in the conversation and chat. And join us tonight, we have Beau from at 1 Million Cards. Welcome, Beau.
What's up? Good to be back.
Good to have you back.
I'm repping my buddy Dan tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely Ken. Our most common guest now.
Ken was representing him last Saturday. So
I saw that. I was watching the playback earlier today, and I saw Ken wearing it. So I thought, hey, I'm going to be on the show tonight, so I'll keep that going.
Yeah.
And then while we had the countdown, I took the hoodie off to show this shirt. I thought Beau might have a chance of getting the.
Damn, I am good. No, I'm drawing a blank.
Ole Anderson used to. It's an Ole Anderson shirt.
Okay.
If there was anything that was in it, I thought it might be you.
Nice.
So again,
fair enough. It was one of the very early ones from the Conrad Thompson. I think the Shivani one. They were selling these tees, so it was one of the super early ones.
So welcome, Diego. We got Jenny with us tonight. Welcome, Jenny.
What's up, Jenny?
She was trying to read your shirt, so you answered the question, I guess. So, Beau, we kind of had hit on this Saturday night, and Ken had mentioned that he wished you'd have been on so we could have asked some of the questions that had come up. So I thought I might reach out to you and get you on here. But,
yeah, Beau, anything new since the last time you joined us?
Yeah, I worked from home today and didn't have to answer to anybody. So that was nice. Slinging cards full time.
You sure you didn't have to answer anybody? You are still married.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. I didn't professionally. I didn't have to answer to anybody.
Fair enough.
Just hope your boss doesn't turn out to be a jerk.
Right, exactly. I know he can be at times.
So, we'll start out with this. I mean, and I know you've said it, but just for the ones that hadn't seen it, but what led you to decide to do this after so long?
Well, it wasn't any one thing. My most recent job that I resigned from was in the transportation industry, and it was a complete 180 turn from what my only other industry that I worked in. I was in broadcasting. I was in radio for 12, 13 years, and then I went into basically corporate America and working at a desk. And it's transportation can be really stressful. I was on the sales side, which adds even another level of stress. So it was something that I wanted to get out of that industry, probably several years ago. And when COVID hit, I worked from home. That was that was kind of a challenge at the beginning. Going into it, I didn't know if I would have the, patience to work from home with, other distractions, but it actually went really well. And I preferred to work from home. With the pandemic and the increased time that I had with cards, I sold a lot on eBay. They lifted their caps on listing without the fees. So I had a lot of cards to list. So I did so. And, I started to get the wheels were turning like, hey, I've got enough inventory and I know what I'm doing, flipping, I deal in low end stuff, but I can turn quarters into dollars and got good at that. So just over the course of the last probably 12 months, I set money aside to, potentially prepare for a change. And then when I crunched the numbers, I realized that I can make this work. And obviously I have a passion for the hobby and providing content and selling cards and just meeting new people, developing friendships with you guys and everybody else online. So to just put 100% of my energy into this. So I made the decision about a month ago after my wife and I talked about it. And here I go. Today was day number 2, full-time in the hobby.
Okay. Ken, you want to go ahead with one of yours, or?
I don't know. Really, day number 2, day number 1. You were out shopping, and I saw you walking the dog, and didn't really seem like it was a real first day. But
no,
yes,
day 1 was just kind of, it hit me. Reality hit, and I had some appointments throughout the day, so it was kind of my mind was all over the place. It was very stressful, just because it became real at that point. But the weekend recharged my batteries, and last night I planned out how I wanted to structure my day and kind of moving forward, how I want those days to be structured and scheduled. And it worked out. It worked out great. I learned some things about my process that I immediately am going to change. So yeah. So day 2 was much more productive than day 1, just getting my feet wet on Friday.
And you made a big purchase on day 2.
That was part of the learning curve. I bulk list using File Exchange on eBay. And I've just kind of, through other people that have been introduced to File Exchange, they've found ways to make it faster. So I've just kind of been implementing those, those tricks. Frank Lubatti on Twitter reached out after I did a video last week about card scanners, and he went ahead and purchased one and sent me a video of the card scanner in process, and how much quicker it made the photo taking and the uploading to the photo share website. And that's always been like the bane of eBay listing, is getting those photos and uploading them to eBay. Even if you do it from the phone app, it's still kind of time consuming. So once my process before was just taking photos from my phone whenever, I'd take a pile upstairs. My wife and I are watching Netflix. I'm just taking pictures of cards on the couch, and then I upload. I've done it from stoplights because I can get 2 or 3 done at a red light. But when you're actually sitting down and doing it all in one sitting, it's really time consuming. And it took like 2 or 3 hours today to just take photos and upload 230 photos. So that time will be drastically cut. So after I took all the photos, it took me about 45 minutes to take 230 photos of cards, and that's working straight through. That's when I realized right away that this isn't going to work. I need to, time is money. And if I can drastically cut my time by, using one of these scanners that, Frank has already shown how much quicker it is. And he uses File Exchange as well. So we chatted, and he showed me, the exact model he's using, how much time it's saving. And I went to Amazon and bought that one first thing in the morning after I realized how much time it was really taking.
Yeah, very nice. So how does your photos turn out on that? I mean, as far as, because a lot of people want to look at edging, and I would imagine with it running through a scanner like that with no background, is it good? Is it show the edges good, or?
Yeah, so it's actually it'll actually show, it's because it's basically just a scanner, so it's actually going to take better photos than what I would normally take with my iPhone. And I'll also, I'm not going to be taking photos. These are going to be for low end. We're talking $1, $2, $3, probably $5 and under cards. No chromes, no prisms, nothing that can easily scratch. I'm sure that these scanners can safely scan those, but I don't want to risk that. But, in the end, it's going to take, say I listed today was all 1971 Topps baseball. And, they're in, fair to good condition. So I'm not really worried about, running cards like that, or, if it's a 2021 Topps that I'm listing for $2, I'm not too concerned about, the scanner, if it makes any damage. But, a lot of, I know card shops and I know a lot of bulk sellers use these scanners. So I'm pretty comfortable with using those. And so far Frank's had great success using them.
Okay. Yeah, I know that the so my local card shop, it reopened, but before it was multiple guys actually were kind of in the same shop. And the one guy, basically what he did was he sold, and he's no longer a part of it, but he had a program where he sold on Beckett, eBay, and somewhere else. But yeah, he used that exact thing, and it was the same. And it was Fujitsu, and I mean, he couldn't say enough good things about it. Like you said, chromes, thick cards, things like that, you got to be a little careful with. But I mean, these were things he was putting online for, like you said, $1, maybe $2. Yeah. And if things happen, especially with like a 71 Topps, it's already a little rough, nothing hurt.
So Mickey's wanting to know what the difference between it and a regular printer. These things are print how many cards, or scan how many cards a minute?
So let me go back. And so this is like so you're feeding, it's a scanner that you're feeding cards into, as opposed to like a flatbed scanner where, you can scan 9 cards at a time on a flatbed scanner, but it's still going to, you've got to, sometimes you've got to,
you still got to go in and crop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this, he says, so he had 247 cards on Friday, and it took 7 minutes to scan 250 cards.
Yeah, you can't do that with a flat scanner.
No.
Or an iPhone camera either.
Right.
So does this, I'm assuming this thing comes with like a programming that goes on your computer to sort them somehow or another, or?
Yeah, so what it'll do is it'll just scan to your computer, and you put it into a folder, and then from there, another thing you can do is copy and paste all, say 250 straight into Image Shack and do a bulk upload, where from the iPhone you cannot bulk upload your photos, which is a real pain. And that's what takes a bulk of the time, because you're uploading pictures individually. So, I go into the website from my phone, click upload, and I've got to find the card in the order. And sometimes, say I run into the kitchen, get a glass of water, come back, it's like, oh crap, what was the last card that I scanned? So, you're scrolling through to find the picture. So finding a way to bulk scan. The one problem I had when I sent all of the photos to my laptop when I was first fooling around with Image Shack as the host for the photos, was that, and I'm sure it was operator error on my part, but it started copying, multiple photos, and then it didn't, when you went to copy and paste them into Image Shack, it was not in any type of order. So that can still probably happen this way, but in kind of reverse engineering the process of, entering the data. Now I do that. I try to keep everything, all of the cards, in order that I took the photos or scanned them. And then once they're uploaded to Image Shack, then I can automatically go in and double check, which 40 photos on a page are in the order, and then I work off the 40 pages, and then I can bulk copy the links back into the spreadsheet. So it's file exchange can be super tedious, and it's still kind of a learning curve. Like, I'm still learning tips and tricks on how to make it faster. I love it. I swear by it. But there is a learning curve, and it is difficult, especially at the start, to really figure things out and get it working smooth.
So I saw Zach made the comment about Beau being everywhere, and Diego had asked earlier. So obviously it's early on, and I know I've briefly heard you mention it, but did you want to touch on, you're wanting to do a little bit more programming, or being on YouTube a little bit more? Obviously, I believe you're trying to go on, I don't know if it's completely daily, 5 days a week, or, you just want to talk about that a little bit, what your plans, at least at this point, are?
Yeah, so I will. I've done since COVID. I've done my show, Hobby Evolution, which who would have thought? I think I've done 390 episodes. Who would have thought episode 1 that by episode 390 I would be doing this full time? Never would have thought that when I started the show in like July of last summer. So I'll continue doing that. When I went back to work in the office, it was very sporadic. Based on kind of my schedule and getting to the office. So I'll be back to a regular routine of recording that show live every morning at 7 a.m. Central. And then I'll also be jumping on occasionally to the Hobby Hotline video series. So I'll be, I think 8 additional hosts were added to Hobby Hotline. So was one of those. So looking forward to jumping in there on occasion.
They had to add an extra day because they added so many hosts.
That's right. And actually the Tuesday night works better for me because Saturday morning is like my shipping day. And that's when I do a lot of my shipping. And I prefer to listen as opposed to call in on the show and just kind of, chat, make a comment in the chat as opposed to like actually calling in because I'm doing so much shipping on Saturday morning. So the Tuesday night will work better.
Okay. So what about for your own program? You said you was going to try to do more yourself outside of your Hobby Evolution.
Well, possibly. I'm kind of throwing around some ideas with some more like tutorial videos, talking about file exchange, a lot of how-to videos. I've done some blogs on, different tips and tricks within the hobby, doing more. I don't want to say edited because I'm pretty poor with video, but my attempt at, some quicker, not long form videos. So, maybe 2 to 5 minute type of, showing some of the how-tos on file exchange and uploading photos and, different sort of things like that. If I found I was back home at my mom's house over the weekend, I found just a random pack of Batman cards from 1991. And I'm like, I'm going to do a video. I'm going to open these up because they're 30 years old. And I remember opening these from the local IGA grocery store when I was a kid. So, just some fun things like that, just pop it up randomly.
Okay. So what, when you're going full time now, I know that primarily in the past you've dealt with more like lower end cards. You had your 99-cent store and whatnot. Are you planning on adding like some more higher dollar inventory to put on eBay, or are you going to try to keep the same format?
That's a great question. It's something that I, kind of constantly think about. Right now I have so much inventory on the low end stuff that I'm just going to, keep building and scaling up that type of inventory. It's also my niche, I kind of say pick a lane and kind of become an expert in that lane. And, I kind of know I've got a good thing going with the low end cards and getting those overhead costs down. I love picking up bargain. I mean, it's a business and it's work, but it's a lot of fun when I can go buy a bargain box and pay 10 cents per card. And, one of the bargain boxes last week, I paid 10 cents per card. It was $1 box. There's a Glaber Torres high number and it sold for $7.50, just a day or two later. And, getting another box, I was paying a penny per card and, half of it will go in my 25-cent box. The other half, I'll list on eBay, and I've already found some $4 or $5 cards in that batch. And, I just love the thrill of the hunt in buying those bargain boxes and flipping quarters into dollars.
So based on like you said, you have a lot of, the low dollar inventory. So what is your strategy for listing? Are you trying to list in season? Are you trying to list preseason? Like right now, are you not really focusing on baseball? Are you focusing on basketball, football? What are your early thoughts on how you're going to handle that?
So right now, so today I listed 1971 Topps baseball. I won't be listing a lot of newer baseball in the next, say 2 months, because it's like the worst time to sell, October, November, December for baseball. I bought up a lot of bargain box and bought a couple bargain boxes of basketball rookies and picked out some cheap basketball rookies over the summer. So that's kind of my next, area of focus, this week is going to be listing some basketball singles, current players, some of those second tier rookies like Jordan Poole, who's, kind of blowing up, with, I think tomorrow night is the season opener. So this week will be basketball, trying to get some football. I haven't bought much football. And I kind of got into basketball last year. So baseball's always been and likely always will be my number one area of focus. But I did pick up some basketball over the last year. So working on adding some football into the mix, but I'm digging through those boxes. Like I was at the National at the singles club, and I pull out a football box, and I don't know if this dollar card is a 50-cent card or is it a $5 card. But with baseball, I know right away. I can go through boxes real fast, and I can pick out those cards that will sell for $10, as opposed to football and even to an extent basketball. So just trying to I want to have it kind of branched out, because I don't want it solely on baseball, because then you lose a lot of sales in the winter months. But I do want to have kind of a presence in other sports as well. Sorry, Ken, no hockey though.
Hey, no, I mean, myself, like even when I go to sport lots and look at stuff, like sometimes I buy stuff that I think I can, turn around and sell. I don't really look at football because I just don't care about the NFL. So
yeah,
there's nothing. I mean, there's so much product out there anyway that it's not like you have to get involved with every sport. If you get a bunch of a bunch of football, you throw it in that box and you take it to the show and you just move it. I'm sure you get a lot of that as you acquire collections.
absolutely.
So the only struggle I feel like with maybe sticking to half of the sports is, like you said, October, November, December is rough for selling baseball. So you have that off season in all sports, and while they'll still sell, they sell much more slowly.
Yeah, and then Mark and Diego talk about soccer and WWF. When I was at the show in Rockford 2 weeks ago, I probably had 5 or 6 people ask if I had soccer cards, and what soccer I did have, most of it sold out of my 25-cent boxes. So soccer is definitely something, I don't know a single thing about soccer. But if I come across anything in bulk, I'll, try to buy it on the cheap, just because I know there's, interest, and it seems to be growing as well. And in wrestling, I've had a lot of success selling on eBay. I'm a wrestling fan, and I always like, buying and opening some of the products, especially the WWE Heritage products, which actually returned this year. And some of those, sell, I'll, and they're 99 cents, $1.50, it's cheap, but I'll, kind of my goal when I list these cards for 99 cents is, the goal is not to sell a single card for 99 cents. It's to have volume to where a person that sees a 99-cent card sees 20 other 99-cent cards and makes a $20 purchase. And I see that a lot with my WWF inventory, where, the 91 WCW Impel cards that, I always thought was junk. I'll have people buy 5-10 cards here and 5-10 cards there, and it all adds up.
But it's it kind of helps to know the market that you're dealing with too. I mean, like I said, if you don't know anything about soccer, you don't know if you're buying. You might be buying a box full of stuff that's be like buying 91 tops.
Right. Exactly. And I've made those mistakes where, especially back in the craze where it's like everything, back in actually basketball kind of slowed down during the pandemic as opposed to, some of the other sports really heated up. Basketball was kind of on the downward slide. But in 2019, basketball was super hot. And so I was, thinking I was getting great deals because everybody's buying basketball rookies and I was buying a bunch of garbage. Fortunately, I didn't put much money into it. But sometimes you have to live and learn, and you have to stick your neck out and make some of those decisions, whether they're bad or good. But I try to, at least think through some of the purchases before I dive in. But, that was something that, it was like, okay, I probably should have looked into this a little more before I, bought these cards or, this player or, whatever it may be. So yeah, every once in a while I try to stick my neck out. It doesn't work, but sometimes you never know if you don't try.
Well, and wrestling's a good niche because for one, it's year round.
Yeah.
And two, I know that there's money to be made there. I think it was either 2012 or 2013. They did Topps Chrome and they had those value packs where you get 3 packs for $9.99, and then they would have 3 atomic refractors in there. I was literally making money on eBay just opening those things up because those atomic refractors were selling for $5, $10, $12.
Wow.
The people that do collect wrestling cards, they collect wrestling cards. Is it smaller? Yeah, but as you've even sat there and talked about with, you do pretty well with them. There's a niche that, maybe that does help you. Maybe that is an area where I'm sure you thought about this. I mean, this is no groundbreaking thought, but maybe that's a place where you can have the fun of opening some product and still have that thrill because as we know, you're going to have to, you've talked about it. Slow down on just opening wax, but maybe WWE is where you can do it.
Yeah, and I love that heritage product, and I think it was just pushed back another couple of weeks. I know Todd had some issues, so they had to push several products back. And that's a product that I love to open, and I think it'll do really well. And I don't know how well it does at release, and I think it'll do even better now because I think it's been 3 years since Topps has done a WWE Heritage. I think 18 was the last year.
That sounds right.
And I think it's 89 Topps is the design. Surprised
that was the last design. They skipped 88.
Okay, maybe it's 90 then.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I was buying a lot. Like I bought, I would buy a couple boxes of Heritage WWE then. Yeah, they skipped 88. And then went straight to 89, and then that was the last design they used. Yeah, they got rid of Heritage and Chrome for 2 or 3 years, and now, oh look, all of a sudden they're back. I'm like, where was it, Topps?
You think they might be looking for something to fill gaps?
Yeah.
Thanks, Topps. They need to offer some Montgomery Club WWE stuff. I'd be all over that.
It's coming.
Probably.
Well, they did the living set, and man, that was for me. Oof, that was. I'm so glad I stopped at 20 cards, and I ended up. I think I have them up in my eBay store for like $10. I've sold 1, maybe 2. I think I've sold 2 of them out of those first 20. So it was wah wah.
I think there's a chance with some of those low print runs that you get. Another 6, 12, 18 months down the road and people still coming into the hobby. And there might be that little bit of kind of like the baseball was, how those first 3, they weren't worth that much. And then all of a sudden, boom. Now, I'm not comparing wrestling to baseball because we obviously know there's a lot less people. I think, like I said, I'm on that subscription for a year, so
Yeah.
I don't even know who. I've quit looking. I don't even know who's in half of these unopened packages that I've got over here. You briefly touched on it, or we kind of briefly touched on it because of the box aspect. But so how does card seller Beau affect 1 million Cubs collecting Beau?
That's
how much?
That's a great question. So I keep it separate. Basically I see my Cubs collection as personal. That's a personal expense. I don't consider them cards. It'd be like if you're a card seller and you collect coins. Coins aren't part of that business of selling cards. I don't know that cards and coins are kind of close to each other, so I don't know if that's the best example, but the Cubs are completely separate. Although I liked Brad Texas Card Dude's idea that my business is 1 Million Cubs LLC. I can use that as a marketing expense. So so maybe that's the case. But somebody else mentioned this morning, everybody's got a price, and if somebody came in and offered me $1 million for my Cubs collection, then I'm selling. But it'd take a pretty whopping offer for me to sell. It'd be crazy high, because it's not for sale. It is my own collection. So in terms of approaching that million and now buying, I'm much more cautious. When I go to card shows, it's not the show that I mentioned earlier in Rockford 2 weeks ago. There was a beautiful 1934 batters up Billy Herman. And I was gonna go back and buy it. And then I thought, you know what? I at this point I hadn't started full time into the hobby yet, but I was really, building up momentum to keep that momentum going once I started full time. So instead of buying that Cubs Billy Herman, I bought a bargain box at a discount rate, just for more inventory that I don't really need, but it's always nice to have fresh inventory and that thrill of the hunt for me. So, my approach at card shows is much different now, where I can't just, lay down, X amount of money on some Cubs from my want list, but eventually I'll get there. And once I get my feet under me and get the business to where I need it to be, then I can have a little more fun with buying the Cubs cards. So that's kind of my approach now, and I have a card show in Madison coming up this Saturday. So if something catches my eye, I think the vendor with that Billy Herman's going to be setting up. So he had 2 copies, so I'm sure he still has at least one. Maybe I'll fork over and pick that up Saturday as a business opening gift to myself.
Business expense.
Yep.
So while we're on the topic of it, you've kind of answered most of it, and I know you're talking about scaling back as far as your purchasing. But how do you feel that trying to go full time will affect like the trades that you do?
My trade, I'm way behind. So if anybody is watching that I owe cards to, I do have you. I have everybody that I owe cards to down from the last couple months. I think I'm up around the national. So I'm how many months ago was that? 3 August, September, October, 3 months. So I'm about 3 months behind, and there might be some prior to that. I have to turn down trades that are like set builders, because none of my cards are really sorted in any particular order. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, who do you collect? Okay, Tatis, I can, look for him. So it's kind of one of those things. So I do have to, especially right now, unless it's like an easy trade, like if I post a picture of a card, which happens, I pulled like an Ichiro number to 99 out of a bargain box a few months ago. And that was a real easy trade to make. If it's something like that, then it can go quick. But, if it's, particular cards, that's not really, I'm not a good trade partner when it goes to particular needs off a want list, or, especially for set builders, because I'm just not set up to easily find those.
So as I understand that, though, as I'm listening to you, I can ask you to set aside 1987 Topps football cards, as long as I'm not asking for particular numbers.
Ooh. Unfortunately, that's like the only set that I'm setting cards aside for. My friend from my hometown, Brandon, he's building the set because it was also for him the first football card set he ever.
Herman, cut him off. I'm done. Cut him off. He's gone.
So I actually have a box of 87 Topps football for my buddy Brandon.
He's going to be getting doubles, and y'all are both working on the set, so there's your trade partner.
There you go. I'll introduce you. Yeah.
Mike Summer doesn't have any either. He doesn't have. I mean, with all he's got in his Sport Lot store, Mike Summer doesn't have any. How does that happen?
It is crazy, because in all of the collections I've bought, like when the 87 Topps football I have for my friend, those I acquired in trade from a couple different people. I put a call out like probably 6 months ago, and I probably had 5 or 6, and that's it. Like, out of all the collections, 87 Topps football was never in those. And I have like I do have in a box, I have like 81, I think it's 81, 83, and 86. So I have those football cards. So those would be easy sets for, those 86 Topps, they're beautiful green borders. But 87 just always, and 85, the black, 85 border. I don't have too many of those either.
Well, I mean, think about, we were, and you said you haven't watched it completely, but our roundtable from the other night, how many of us started collecting on that panel? It was over half the panel that started collecting in that 85, 86, 87 range. So, there are a lot of guys our age that collected that. So that could have something to do with it. Damn, no 87 Topps.
all but 2.
Yeah, I don't know who else to go to now. I mean, I figured between Mike Summer and you, I'd get most of the set, but I thought, uh-oh.
Boomslang asked a question. I have a couple here. Let's show this one because I like his name, Rufus.
Rufus Porter?
Rufus Bess.
Oh.
I remember those.
Yep. So that's 87 Topps football.
There are some of the teams where the color scheme on it, like the Seattle Seahawks, is just fantastic. The Kansas City Chiefs, the color scheme is fantastic. But yeah, I mean, I first started collecting 87. Anybody that's been watching my channel, I've been talking a lot about indulgently. I bought those 87 KB sets. I've got some of the 87 home plate heroes. Well, yeah, I've got 87 Topps baseball, but let's just be honest. Who doesn't have 1987 Topps baseball at this point? I've seen so many of those that, I want to do something different. And in reality, even though I don't pay that much attention to current football or current baseball, I still have a lot more love for old football, I guess, than I do old baseball, for whatever the reason is. Maybe it's all the NFL film I've been watching lately on YouTube.
Nice.
But with football, though, it didn't really take off until, maybe 89?
Yeah, 88 was
88.
I might be biased with that because 88 was my first year opening packs as a kid. And that could have, because Bo Jackson and Christian Okoye and Brian Bosworth were all in that 88 set as rookies. So I bet 88 was probably for football. I bet it really took off with those guys, especially Boz. I mean, Boz and Beau were huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were huge. I guess I would think 90, because that's when Pro Set, was basically running the presses 24/7. That 9 set fine, but it's definitely not as readily available as 90, 91. But man, that's when everybody was collecting it because everybody could get it. It wasn't that hard to find. I didn't really get into NFL as much until about 90. So again, maybe like you said, maybe that's skewing my perception of reality.
Was it 80? was it 90 or 89 that had the score?
89.
89, yeah.
89 was the big score,
89
first score year, and
yeah, it
and
was
then they
first score
started
year
running
and first
all the
pro
time.
set year too.
yeah.
Both score and pro set. So
that was the year they had like the checkered border, wasn't it? Or not checkered, but had the
that stripes, or something
yeah.
like that. Stripes on them. Yeah, because they're the ones that I think Leaf is doing.
The
that
Barry Sanders
Yeah.
and
yeah, it's got the Barry Sanders rookie and all that, and then score was just your typical 88, 89 score. With just the different colored borders depending on what number you were on.
Yeah, those were a sorter's dream.
Yeah,
you could get
it did make things easier.
You could get half your sorting done just by looking at the front of the card.
Yep.
So,
all right. Go ahead. I've really just got one left, I think, and this is one that I don't think you've really. I mean, I guess it's possible. Maybe when you touched on it, maybe I stood up and went to the restroom or something. So, how is going full time with this? Obviously, your focus is eBay. Dan,
yeah.
How does this change your show strategy? Not from the standpoint of buying or selling, but just how many shows you're attending, because obviously every hour you spend at a card show, you're spending away from eBay, which is probably going to be the bulk of your sales. Are you still thinking you're going to try to do 2 or 3 a month, or what have you thought about so far?
Yeah, so I will I'm not going to venture out as a vendor to other shows. I'm going to stick to my show and the Rockford show, which each are monthly, so that ties up 2 weekends a month. And I'm the promoters of Rockford and myself, we have a great relationship. We promote each other. They'll help me bring in vendors that do their shows, and I'll bring vendors to their shows. So we've got a good working relationship in that regard. So I'll continue to do those 2 shows, and then I'll hit up other shows like the show in Oak Creek, as a buyer, just looking for, digging through bargain boxes and, trying to get some bulk deals, because in doing shows, it's not all about sales, especially promoting a card show. It's about networking with other vendors, and then, doing it full time and selling cards is, buying is a big part of it, and trying to find those bulk deals to add inventory, not only to my eBay store, but to, my own bargain boxes. If I can, pick out, a bulk bargain box and get the cards at 5 cents a piece, I can put a bunch in my 25-cent box. I can put some on eBay if they're in that couple dollar range. So it's kind of threefold: buy, sell, and network when I do card shows. So I'll stick to setting up as a seller at 2 shows a month, and then I'll probably hit up a 3rd show a month, just as a promoter and walking the room and looking for deals.
So the show promotion is not something that you would look at maybe expanding on to kind of pad your income for your business?
No, I'm just gonna stick to our show. It's a small hotel show. It's got a little bit of room to grow. We're at 50 tables this weekend, which is the most we've had. I've got room for a few more tables that we can fit. It's kind of suited for 50 tables, but we can squeeze in about 5 or 6 more comfortably into the room. We also have, kind of the outside area, which I don't want to expand into, but if I have demand for, another 10, 20 tables outside of the 55, get it to 75 tables, that's an option. So, that's about as much promoting as I want to do with the card shows is my one a month, and kind of leave it at that. And that's about it.
Well, the only thing we kind of skipped over it, or didn't skip over it, but I just didn't ask earlier. You said several times about how you're not necessarily as organized as you'd like to be, or as far as being able to help set builders. Do you think that now that you're going full time, you may feel more of a need to maybe get a little more organized as far as I know you have certain players that you have put together all in one place, but say if you've gotten all the, all the Chipper Jones out of every set, but all the other common cards or whatever cards you got for trade or whatever, do you think that would be something that you would work on to? Because I know a lot of set builders will purchase off of eBay in bulk.
Sure.
So
yes and no. In the near term, so when I say I'm completely disorganized with everything that's basically not for sale. My store inventory is super organized. My bargain boxes, those are a complete mess, not organized. It's something that I always, after each show, should I put these in team order? But then it takes a long time to sort cards, and is it worth that time spent to move some quarter cards, and how much would that needle move if they were sorted by team? I think it would move the needle, but I just don't know if it's worth the time spent in doing that. But when it to like some of the other stuff, right now my focus is just scaling up and getting as much. My inventory on eBay right now is like 4,400 active listings, and I have 100,000 cards that should be in my eBay store. So I've just got to scale up, and add as much inventory as possible to the eBay store. And of course, the more inventory that I list, the more sales I make, and the more time I'm going to be spending shipping. So at some point, I will probably have to hire an assistant to help in shipping. So that would be a good spot to be in. But here in the near term, it's just going to be scaling up as much as possible. Because not only in like you said, like the organization, not only am I listing those cards, but I also have to put them in order to where I can easily access them. Fortunately, today, the cards that I listed were all from the same set, so they'll find a good spot and go with that. But that kind of the near term is just list as much as I can. George asked if I got my 500 listed today. I kind of touched on that earlier. That I did 230 or 240. But it took me so long to take the photos that after I took the photos, I realized this is taking too long. So I'm going to buy a scan. So I bought a card scanner. So,
and now you can do that 230 in 7 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to kind of follow up on what you said there with, the more you list, that means the more you sell in theory, which means the more time you have to take to ship. So at least early on, what is your pricing theory? Are you pricing to turn the product to where you have to do more shipments and you're just trying to get stuff in and out? Or are you trying to maybe maximize, go a little bit higher, take a little more money so you get more money per, you maybe slow down? So have you sure feeling that at this point?
I feel like you're in my head. I think we were talking about how we were on the same wavelength a few days ago, but yeah, you kind of hit the nail on the head of what my kind of strategy is, that I've kind of stopped the whole 99 cent, pushing the 99 cent store, because it got to a point, during the peak of the hobby back in February, March, that I was, it was too hard to keep up. I think at the peak I was at 77 sales a day. And so it was hard to keep up with all of those shipments. So then, as the summer and I had other activities, so it's like, I'm going to pump these cards up to $1.50. So kind of the base, listing rate is $1.50. And, just to keep my head above water. So that's definitely, part of the thought process. If it's like rookies, you never know. Sometimes I'm priced. I used to always try to price below comps, but now it's, just in trying to keep up with all the sales. And if it's a rookie card that, hey, he may go off for, if it's an NBA rookie, he may have a 20, 30, 40 point game. I'm going to price it, and again, these are low dollar cards. These are $2, $3 cards. So I'm going to price it, maybe a little higher, maybe the comps are $1.50. I'm going to price it at $2 or $2.50. And I can field offers. I turned the accept offer on. So that is kind of the thought process, where just to keep my head above water, raising it above that 99-cent price.
And that's kind of the theory I'm using since, as I've been selling on eBay for a month again, and I've still got a lot to do, but I listed some Fernando Tatis cards, I listed some of the superstars cards, and people want to come in and make offers. And I'm just like, yeah, but I mean, the reality is these are going to sell in time. I don't necessarily need to sell, because your situation is different, since that's what you're doing as a job. I'm selling just on the side to accumulate some extra money and turn it into something else. But same thing, like I've got 10 Tyler Harrow Donruss rookies. Well, the going rate right now, or 2 months ago, may have been $1.49, but that was the off season. And like you said, he may go off in the first game of the season and score 55 points. And now all of a sudden that, everything that was less than $5 is completely gone. And I cost myself X amount of money. Now, I don't have that much money into them either. So it's, there's so many factors. But yeah, I was kind of curious kind of what your thought process was. And I liked how you mentioned the rookies as well, because that's become even more of a thing. The knee-jerk reaction to a big game by a rookie in almost any sport. I mean, I can't speak for every sport, but very close.
I mean, it's amazing. And I do have some 99-cent football rookies, and, on Sunday afternoon, I'll get the eBay alerts and, Khalil Herbert, sold. And I don't think he scored a touchdown for the Bears, but he must have done something. And, I'll Sunday afternoons, I'll get, and I'll look and, so-and-so scored a touchdown or had a big game. And yeah, it's just kind of goes like that.
Yeah. And part of the reason I was asking too was I feel like I remember you saying, you do a bit, you would do a bulk upload, say 2 or 3 times a week. And what you were saying, you were selling 20, 25% of those cards before you woke up the next morning. So by, raising those prices 15, 20%, you kind of slow that down. Hopefully you don't kill your sales too much, but you don't have to chip out as many. So that was why I was curious about that.
And so, and I discovered something. I went through and I looked at some of the eBay statistics this afternoon. And when I ran projections before I made the decision to go full time to see, what's my inventory turnover. I've been doing this long enough. I've got enough sales data to look at it and forecast. And the inventory turnover has been around 1% of my store's inventory sells on a daily basis. But back in February, March, that percentage was 2%. And I'm like, really? So since February, March, we've seen that big of a decline in cards. So I went back and looked at the analytics of my promoted listings. And in February, the month of February, I had 7.5 million impressions, basically just eyeballs on my store's items. And I had roughly the same. I would say my average in February of active listings was about the same as what it was in September. So I looked at the September. So at 7.5 million impressions in February, the eyeballs, the impressions in September was 3.5 million. So, and that matches up with my inventory turnover dropping from 2% to 1%. There's also that many less eyeballs, looking at my items. And I think, a part of that is, yes, February, March is typically a pretty hot time in cards because of baseball starting up. Basketball is, still in regular season. And now baseball's kind of dead. Basketball's starting to pick up, so it's still preseason for basketball. So I just found those numbers to be pretty fascinating that they actually did match up.
But how much of that too? You've talked about it in the past, I believe. You live in Wisconsin. You're under 7 feet of snow for half the year. So you're about to hit that where everybody's home. So does that, does that have some effect? There's definitely there's no way there's not some effect there, but so maybe we're about to get there again. As it starts. I mean, we're almost in November, so I mean we're talking snow in a lot of the country.
Yeah,
we're not going out. We're not going out and going to shows and eating on restaurant patios anymore.
Yep, exactly.
Well, that's pretty much what I got. What about you, Herman? Do you have any other anything else on your list?
No, I think that was pretty much everything I had. We covered it all and then some that we as far as what we had.
Well, I got one more. I got
ahead.
one more. Completely random, and this one you can answer quick. So you're only in day 2, but what's your background noise while are you into YouTube videos? Are you listening to music? What works for you, at least right now?
Oh, that's a great question. I didn't even think of this. Today was more of an office setting as opposed to Friday. I was kind of all over the place. So today, I started my morning watching the Hobby Roundtable, and then Brad, Texas Card Dude, went on live. So then I had him on, and then I think I went back to Hobby Roundtable. Ended up listening to music. I had Pandora going. I had Gin Blossoms radio on Pandora. So a little bit of both. I had some music and I had some YouTube hobby content in the background.
Yeah, it was just interesting because and I've mentioned, I think, a lot of people that follow me know, I pretty much, while I'm working all day, I'm pretty much listening to YouTube videos unless I'm caught up. And then I've got like some jazz channels on YouTube that I follow, and I'll just go to a live jazz channel or something like that because that it's a little easier to work with jazz than it is a lot of other things.
Right,
so,
right.
Just like I said, just one of those thoughts of it'll change. Obviously, some days are better than others, but I was just curious about that.
So when you get to the end of that Hobby Roundtable episode, you're gonna get a good laugh out of it. Because it got to be the full-fledged Beau show.
Oh boy, what am I in
Beau
for?
show.
I'll tune in tomorrow morning. That'll be my background music tomorrow morning.
So real quick before we let you go, what's the update on your Cub count, or have you had one lately?
The most recent is just over 713,000. I do have a few packages. Jenny, I found Jenny, who was in the chat earlier. She sent me a couple PWEs that I couldn't find, but I found them. They were on our counter upstairs. So I have a couple of those. I got another package today. So probably 714,000, maybe a little less. I bought some bulk flat rate boxes off the blowout forums just to add to my 25-cent boxes. So I started pulling some of those tonight, and so there are another couple hundred in those boxes as well. So probably around 714,000.
All right. Well, Beau, we appreciate you coming on. Enjoy talking to you.
Thanks for having me.
And thanks everybody for hanging in and joining in the chat. We enjoyed the conversation. I guess you going on tomorrow morning?
Yep, I'll be on about 7 a.m. Central.
Still too early for me. Still can't do it. It's still got to watch it on replay.
So you want to share your eBay stuff? Sure. I mean, most everybody knows how to find you, but
yep, I'm 1 million Cubs on YouTube. I am 1 million Cubs on Twitter and Instagram. 1 million Cubs Project on Facebook. 1millioncubs.com is the way. My eBay store link is also on there. So yeah, those are the ways to find me. I had a conversation with somebody from Twitter that's going to help me redesign the 1millioncubs.com website. We had a great conversation this afternoon, kind of giving him my vision, what I wanted to do with the website, and he's gonna put those ideas to work. So hopefully in the next month to 6 weeks, we'll have an all new look to 1millioncubs.com. Content.
Yeah, I saw that post, and I knew as soon as it came up, I'm like, this is not something you post on Twitter, because they start coming out of the woodworks.
They do, and
people that you're not even friends with, they don't follow you, you don't follow them, but they come out of the woodwork sending DMs.
Yep.
Telling you to check.
Yep. Yeah. So I actually joked with him. His name's Brent, and he's like, sports fan in the hobby. He was already following me. And I joked, I'm like, I bet I have 7 or 8 DMs from random people that I knew because they saw the word in a tweet. And, my goal was to find somebody, in the hobby or, within the hobby circle that either does this or has a recommendation for somebody who does. So Brent came through. So looking forward to work with him.
All right. Well, once again, we appreciate you joining us, and guys, we'll see y'all next week. Everybody stay safe and take care.